So the other day I said something like that people were suffering mostly from institutions that are corrupt, and to be clear, in that case, I guess I'm talking about the unnecessary suffering. Obviously, even if all of your needs are met, there's still going to be suffering. People suffer for all sorts of reasons. There is the whole Buddhist sort of idea of life is suffering, and it's like, yes, I get that, but I guess the thing I'm trying to get at is our economic situation, because it's basing its economic model around freedom, let's say, the currency as it used to stand was based on something physical that was labor intensive to produce. Our society should have produced a culture of near zero poverty. You're always going to have poor people, I think. Even Jesus says, the poor will always be with us. I found that interesting too, because you could think of that as poor in money, but you could also think of it as poor in spirit or poor in intelligence, and we could debate measuring IQ, but it's certainly measuring something, and there is certainly a gradient there. If there's always going to be people who are poor in spirit, poor in intelligence, and poor in motivation, let's say, the poor will always be with us. But having said that, our economies should be producing this insane middle class, and I think, all technological advancements make things cheaper. Got to wonder about why today we've got these few things that keep going up in price. Technology is supposed to make things go down in price, but yet the medical industry, healthcare keeps going up. Technology has made it so now, the best professors on earth can teach people all over the world through the internet. And there's all sorts of reasons to think that the price of education should be going down. But guess what? It's not. It's going up. I think most of this lies at the feet of these corrupt institutions. And the fact that I think we've kind of forgotten that we can't trust our institutions to just do the right thing. They have to be sort of maintained, and again, with that 10% walking up and down the structure looking for errors and corruption. When I was a kid, I felt like the Democrats were kind of doing that, and I feel like at some point that stopped working. But enough. I was bordering on politics there, so I'm going to try to get out of that. Take a left turn or a right turn. Yeah, targeted suffering from certain institutions. Yeah, economically, imagine if today, you could live a middle-class life working at McDonald's. The value of the currency should be able to support somebody who's working one of these type of jobs. And this is where I start to sound like a leftist. And I don't consider myself a leftist, but I am sort of anti-corporate. Maybe your CEO can make 600 grand, but maybe not 60 million. And maybe some of that money should go back into the community because it is a profit from a cooperative venture that the public has to sign off on. In most states, I believe corporations used to come up for review every 10 years or so by a board. And the corporations had to jump through certain hoops in order to stay incorporated and prove that they're operating within the public good. People say, well, you're anti-capitalist. Well, capitalism as a term was coined by Marx. We're talking about free markets. There's a big difference between free markets and corporatism, because I think that's what we have with the modern situation is corporatism. It's sort of a corporate fascism. Yeah, corporations and governments, it's hard to find where those lines end. Especially now we have this revolving door, between corporate entities and these regulatory bodies. You worked for the FDA, now you're going to go, work for a big pharmaceutical company. These are things that are within the people's power to determine what the rules should be on these things. Man, I'm just getting right back into politics. Can't even